Welcome back. Well, today we are joined by Dr. Bobby Awadallah, who is here on behalf of Skincredible Dermatology and Plastic Surgery. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's
nice
so exciting.
to see you again.
Likewise.
And we're trying to really understand. We're coming out of summer months, and of course, then we're going to start wearing turtlenecks and things, and we're not going to worry about anything. But we do have some things we still need to worry about, and that's, we have bumps on our bodies, we have freckles and things like that. So we're going to kind of go over all that. But before we do that, tell me a little bit about your practice.
All right, so my practice is called Skincredible Dermatology and Surgery. We're based in Mission Viejo, and we do the full range of general dermatology needs for patients. We do skin checks, mole checks, rashes, and biopsies if needed, and then if needed after that, any surgical procedures we do as well.
Okay.
So we have a beautiful office, we have a great staff, and we're welcoming to all people that want to come and make sure that their skin is healthy.
Now you have one particular gal that's in your office, and tell me what she does. We have a picture of her coming up.
Yeah, Anissa Mansouri, she's a physician associate, and she's an expert in skin. She's really honed in her skills and is able to do skin checks and make sure that there aren't atypical moles or melanoma or skin cancers. She's able to diagnose rashes and prescribe treatments. And so she's also doing a lot of the skin care in the clinic alongside me, and we work together as a team.
Now, of course, we can look at our skin and we can see lots of different bumps and things that might be a tag, or they might be a freckle or things like that. But what causes skin cancer?
Okay, so skin cancer is most commonly caused by sun exposure. 90% of all skin cancers are due to sun exposure. Of course, there is a genetic component to it, so some people are more susceptible to skin cancers, but generally speaking, the lighter the skin, the less protection it has from sun damage, and the more likely it is to age and to get skin cancer. In fact, we have a picture of a truck driver that spent his entire life driving a truck. On the left side, you see that he's had a significant amount of sun damage. And on the right side, you see that where the sun wasn't exposed, you see that he had less damage. And you see the big difference in one side to the other. So the sun is the #1 cause of aging and skin cancer.
What's surprising to me is that that is through a window.
Through a
right?
window.
And even probably some that could have some sort of tint too, right?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, we don't know how often he had his window down, of course, but it just gives you an idea of how dramatic it is.
Okay. So now let's take a look at another slide. This is someone who has lots of freckles on their back, and you're not going to know. I mean, I can't look in a mirror, so this is why it's important to have a skin check, right?
Right, so you see all these brown spots on the back. There's all kinds of things going on here, and it's very hard to distinguish whether these are normal or abnormal, and that's why we want to have you guys come in and do a skin check so we can determine which are normal and which are abnormal and need to be biopsied.
Okay, now we did, I mentioned skin tags, but these are benign, right? Or could they technically be something else?
So, exactly. You see these brown spots here that are labeled skin tags. There are, in fact, skin tags, but they're colored and they could be, misinterpreted as skin cancers, or they could be skin cancers and they could be misinterpreted as skin tags. So, but these, in fact, are brown skin tags. And then next to them is what you see a photo of a seborrheic keratosis, which is a benign growth, but it looks dark and brown, and it's confusing to whether this is a melanoma or not.
Oh, so you would want to have that checked for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, let me ask you something about when you see something on your skin. Sometimes people have like not a rash, but like a little mark, and then they'll scratch at it. It'll go away, but it comes right back.
Right.
Is that a cancer?
So, well, typically, yes. I mean, we're concerned about things that reappear after they've been kind of removed or frozen or scratched off. That gives us a signal that there's something else going on that's not an easy process to just get rid of. It's deeper and it's got more going to it.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in just a bit. So now, of course, the biggest concern is melanoma.
Right. So what you see here is a actual melanoma. Melanomas are often difficult, again, to differentiate from normal skin or other skin spots that are normal and benign, but they can sometimes be crazy and so obvious that it's easy to diagnose, but not always. So what we use to diagnose is the A, B, C, D, E's of melanoma. A is for asymmetry, B is for borders, C is for color, D is for diameter, and E is for evolution. So a normal mole will be symmetric, and melanoma is usually asymmetric. A normal mole will have normal borders, round borders, even borders.
Okay.
A melanoma can often have atypical borders.
Right.
A normal mole will usually be one color. Melanomas usually have more than one color. The diameter of moles is usually smaller. Melanomas continue to grow so they can get larger.
Yeah.
And then evolution, which is E, is that normal moles just usually stay the same, but melanoma, as it grows, will continue to evolve. Those are kind of the things we use to determine whether a mole is atypical. But then we also have special lights in the office that we use to see deeper into the skin to check if it's abnormal or not.
Right. And then do you use particular types of lenses, like for you visually? Do you have to use those too?
We use a magnification lens with special lighting that gets deep under the skin.
Great.
And so then we can see better how that pigment is being distributed and if it's being abnormal or not.
Well, and this is why it's really important to go in, because as you'll see in the next slide, the similarities. I mean, I wouldn't know. I mean, I'd probably look at one of those skin tags and have a heart attack and think I'm having melanoma.
That's right. And so that's why it's good to just kind of get a peace of mind. Are these normal? Are they not? And if they're not, get in as soon as you can to get them treated and off your body, because melanoma is aggressive initially. It can dive deep inside and metastasize to other parts of the body. And once it does that, it's really the cat's out of the bag, and it's hard to kind of treat. Once, if we get it early, we can just remove it and it's done.
Okay.
So it makes a big difference when you get the diagnosis. If you get it very early on, easy, get it out, we're done. If you get it late and it's spread, then you're talking about chemotherapy and all sorts of more difficult procedures down the road.
So let's look at one other slide. It's basal non-melanoma, and this is what you primarily get from sun exposure, correct?
Right. So these are the most common skin cancers. They're called non-melanoma skin cancers to differentiate them from the melanoma. The two most common ones are squamous cell and basal cell. They're about the same in aggressiveness for all intents and purposes. They grow locally, but they destroy the tissue locally. So the longer you leave them, the more damage they're going to cause.
Right.
And so you really want to get these out too. If you leave them out long enough, they are able to metastasize as well. But that's usually not as quick as a melanoma would be.
Wow. Okay. And then, of course, the way that you have them removed is what you specialize in is Mohs surgery. And just give me a quick overview of what that is.
Right. So Mohs surgery is has the highest cure rate for skin cancers. And what we do is when you come in, we remove the cancer. We take a minimal margin. So if it's on your face, you don't want somebody taking a big margin to make sure they got it out. We take a minimal margin. We remove the cancer. We take it to the lab that's on site. We check the tissue I check the tissue under the microscope and look at all the cells and make sure there's no more cancer cells. Once we do that, if it's gone, then we do this, we do stitching and I do plastic reconstructive surgery to make it pretty and show no scars. If it's positive under the microscope, then I go back to the exact location. So if it's 12:1 or 1:2, I go back to that exact location and just get a little bit more, test it again, and we do that till it's clear.
Right.
And then
in one sitting.
In one sitting while you wait there,
Okay.
And so when you leave, you've gotten the cancer out, and you've gotten a plastic reconstructive surgery to make sure that the scarring is minimal.
Perfect. Now, of course, you have a website where everyone can go and look up a lot of this, and that would be on our screen, so they can take a look at that. They can call you at 949-545-6605. And of course, they can always go to your website for more information and to look up everything you've just said to us.
That's right.
And I appreciate it because I think it's really important for us to know, especially after we've been out in the heat and you may not pay attention. So it's good to call and get a skin check.
That's right, especially in Southern California where we have so much sun exposure year round and throughout our lives. It's very important that we establish your baseline skin, make sure you don't have anything scary, and if you do, take care of it immediately.
Right, and I'm always looking, going, I think that's from something, so I have to be careful. Thank you very much.
It's so good to see you.
You too. And if you want more information, of course, you can always go to their website, which is skincredibledermatology.com, or call 949-545-6605. We'll be right back.